Welcome to the Darien Sewer Commission. It is Tuesday, May 4th, 2021. It's our regularly scheduled meeting occurring virtually by GoToMeeting pursuant to the agenda posted to the website and with the town clerk. We're going to call the meeting to order at 4:33 p.m. And the first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the last meeting of April 6th.
Mr. Chairman, we have no corrections to offer since we prepared the meeting minutes.
On page 2 of 5, number 7, about 228 West Avenue,
Okay,
where it says this is a half acre in a 5th acre zone. Shouldn't that be 1/5 acre? Like 1/5?
I'd support that
instead of
revision.
okay,
I mean, I understand the sentiment of it, but to make it ultrally clear, it should say 1/5.
okay. Got it.
And then is theoretically subdividable, right? Is kind of what you're trying to say.
Yeah, that's what yeah.
So maybe replace that comma with is theoretically.
I'm sorry, where are you now?
Same sentence.
Same.
This half acre in a 1/5 acre zone is theoretically subdividable.
Is theoretically. Thank you.
Thank you.
Got it.
Oh, wow, that's all in here. Okay. All right, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes with those corrections.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Susan, you're very low. Your volume's very low, so I don't know if there's anything you can do about that.
I'm sure there is.
If you hover over them, oh, no, I don't know if it does it.
I'm working on it.
Settings, yeah, upper right. Do we have a motion and a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, that's 4-0.
Unanimous.
Minutes are approved. All right, so item number 3 is our sewer user fee appeals. We have one on the docket tonight, and looks like 93 Mansfield Avenue is represented by Mr. Bowman, who is in attendance.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, am I supposed to talk or just?
Yeah, why don't you run through the nature of the appeal while we look over the statistics here?
Yeah, so by the way, you guys have been great. I appreciate your time. Penny's been great to kind of walk me through the process.
She is.
I think I've been a little bit slow in the uptake here. I talked to a friend of mine who grew up in town, Al Tibbetts, who's been helping me on this. He said, Brad, there's really no point in appealing because it's kind of locked in for the year, and then each year, you know, theoretically that'll adjust upward or downward. So I just talked to Al about this today, and so it sounds crazy, but it kind of makes sense for me to almost withdraw my appeal because I know that Darien's kind of locked into the rate for the year. I love Darien. I don't want to ask for a special favor. The only reason I come in front of the board today is because I'm in the process of selling my house. And the last 2 years of annual water usage has been, and I forwarded this to the sewer committee email about a half an hour ago. October 1st, 2018 to April 1, 2019, the annual was $610 And the following year, it was $719.20. And then in kind of the fourth quarter, November, December, I present some evidence that that we had a leak at the manhole cover. I did a poor job of addressing it. It took me about, I think I called, noticed it maybe October, called the contractor, Scott Bancroft, for an estimate middle of November. And he actually did the repair works in around the middle of January. So that leak was running for, maybe 2 months, 2.5 months. And that resulted in the new assessment of 300% at $2,122.20. So I've got a bunch of supporting documents I'm happy to go through, but I think from my perspective, I'd like to pivot and say, I actually don't want an adjustment request because it's very difficult to do. I understand in talking to Al.
It's actually not. So, I don't want you to,
You know what? I listen. I got 4 kids. I'm trying to teach them about accountability, and this was on me. So I kind of I'm not interested in a rebate.
no, I get it. No, and you should, did you ask Aquarian for an adjustment based on the leak?
That's a really good question, and I think after the fact, I bought some insurance through a third-party vendor. So I've got that covered for the next leak. But again,
And generally, our code is set up very specifically to try to isolate the water that is going into the sewer, that goes through our sewer system, that costs us a lot of money to maintain, and ends up going to the city of Stamford, which costs us a lot of money to participate in. In this case, the leak is outside. The water is discharging to the surface. It's not going in the sewers. It's a break. It's an anomaly. It was corrected, although not very quickly. It was still corrected quickly relative to some of the other things we need. So I don't know. I think an adjustment of some level is appropriate. Bob, I don't know if you have any thoughts or comments on what you're reading.
No, I totally agree that an adjustment is appropriate. It's going to be kind of difficult. We're going to have to fly by the seat of our pants on this one, because normally we like drop the highest month and, average after that, or go to the next year. And in this packet is also.
I'm looking at the 2 of 15. That's the most helpful summary for me, which is the second page in on this matter.
Yes.
We clearly see February and March returning back down to a 7 and an 8, which is very consistent with the levels seen in the prior years, although
no, but it's really not, Craig. It really bounces 18, 19, and then actually 20, 21, it bounces 2. So, I mean, I really think we just need to strike a happy medium, which to me would be to take the CCFs from 18, 19 and times the new rate.
Okay, so if you did that, what would we get?
772.90.
Okay, so would you like to make that motion?
I would make a motion that we amend this bill to 772.90.
Based on a CCF assumption for domestic uses of 4,900 cubic feet. Do I have a second on the motion?
Right here, second.
We'll give that to Peter. Any further discussion on the motion? Mr. Bowman, any further input on the motion?
No, I'm a little slow on this, but it sounds like you guys are doing an adjustment that is up from the prior, but significantly lower than the assessed. Is that accurate?
That is correct. Yeah, with your new bill would be, what was it, $772 instead of $2,100.
Okay, that's phenomenal, and I think that gets me what I need just to tell the new buyer of my home that this is kind of the run rate. So you guys are terrific. Thank you.
Well, hold on, we haven't voted yet, so you're promising something I can't deliver. So all those in favor, Bob?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Susan?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, so appeal is granted 4-0. Thanks for your
Before
time,
you,
sir. Yeah, go ahead.
well, excuse me, before you go somewhere, Mr. Bowman, just so we kind of know for next year, your December of 2020 is also seems to be an anomaly. It was 3,600 CCFs, excuse me, 36 CCFs. And I was wondering if you knew of something that happened there.
Yeah,
If
that's
you
in
look at,
December 2020. I think, so we got 4 kids. They're all out of the house in college or graduated. And I think that was kind of a COVID coming back for maybe for the holidays.
okay,
Much,
that's like a astronomical amount of water. That's like 25,000 gallons.
Someone must have left the shower running for a day.
ooh, that is,
Anyway.
It's almost
I don't know.
27,000 gallons.
Yeah.
Okay, just figured
That
I'd
sounds-
ask for
that
future
sounds great.
reference.
Good. Thank you very much. I will mention that the folks over at Lucky Lawn did install a new head unit on my sprinkler system. I know you guys don't factor in summer usage, but summer usage I think is showing down because of the more efficient application of water. So just want to pass that on.
Yeah, so we take the, well, that's much appreciated, of course, for all sorts of reasons, but we take the Aquarian numbers for November through March. Occasionally, if they read it early in November, they're capturing a lot of October time. And if they're capturing a lot of October time and you happen to be irrigating late in the season, that would get caught in the numbers. So sometimes people are educated on that to turn off their irrigation systems, but before October 1, so that sort of thing doesn't happen. And very occasionally people submeter their irrigation to have it subtracted out. But
Thank you very much. A quick question. We're closing on in early July. Is there some sort of evidence or document I can show to the new owner that
you'll
might give
receive
them
a new bill from the collector.
sometime in the next
Probably a
weeks?
couple weeks, I imagine, yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you all for your time.
Let me say, when you sell the property, the buyer's attorney will be looking at the sewer bill to make sure that if you pay part of the sewer bill, that you'll be reimbursed for that.
Okay, great.
We pay in advance, right, Craig?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's handled differently by different real estate
paying
attorneys. It's sometimes it's treated like an oil tank, sometimes it's not.
Well, there's a right way, I guess. Anyway,
That's
should
up to
be
them.
an oil tank.
Peter, I appreciate you pointing that out. I'll certainly flag that.
All right, thanks, sir. Moving on our agenda to item number 4, sewer connection fees, approval of code revision, language, and scheduling of a public hearing. Whoa, boy, that's a messy. Do we get a clean one? No. Okay.
The red is you and the blue is town council. And I would point out that one of the edits that may bear explanation is we have this deal where if there's a developer's agreement, you don't charge a connection fee, right? Because they've extended the sewer. However, our attorney picked up on the fact that even if that's true, it's also possible for them to intensify their use or raise their house and build an even bigger house or put up a shopping center or something ridiculous like that. So she changed the language so that it wouldn't preclude the commission from ever instituting a connection fee. The way it was written before the review was, it seemed to her that it would preclude a connection fee ever, even if you tore the house down and reconnected. So that's one of the more significant catches.
The bit of language that I don't love here, right, is, and it's been added by the attorney, qualifying that this whole reg of connection fees only applies effectively in two cases. You're connecting for the first time having never been connected before, or you're reconnecting having been disconnected. And I was, in my language, trying to cover a third version, which is you didn't actually demolish the building. You didn't actually disconnect from the sewer, but you remodeled in a way that intensified the use. To me, by saying connected or connecting or previously connected eliminates that. You know, like imagine a commercial building of any type, and it's staying in business and operational while they're building another 5,000 square feet of restaurant that they end up tying into. It's a clear intensification of use, although they never disconnected from the sewer. But they needed, you know, a building permit. They needed a zoning permit to increase the size of the business or the building. So if we just read this, let's work on the first sentence here. Connection fee shall be due and payable upon actual connection or reconnection to the sewer line. So those were the two. And then I'm saying, or prior to receipt of certificate of occupancy for intensification of use by any person or entity seeking to connect or reconnect to the sanitary sewer, or to intensify the use of a building or property. I would get rid of previously in that sentence, connected to the sanitary sewer. You see what I'm saying here? I think the language precludes someone that doesn't disconnect, but still intensifies use.
What if they don't increase the size of the connection?
So if they're not intensifying use, then, you know, we don't need to get a connection fee. You know,
I mean,
and that is, you know, based on the chart, which, you know, they're either adding dwelling units, which would be an intensification of use, or they're increasing the size of their domestic water service, which would be an intensification of use. We don't care about the square footage necessarily. We care about how much water they can potentially use. That drives the connection fee. So if they're
in order to
doubling the size of their restaurant, and by doubling the size of their restaurant, they got to go from a domestic water service of 1.5 inches to a domestic water service of 3 inches.
Oh,
We want the
well,
delta.
I mean but that is the change. I mean, if they change the water service size and they use more water, that's okay, right?
Well,
You're
we're getting
gonna pay
higher
more.
user fees for that, but we're not getting any new connection fee if they never disconnect.
Right.
And I was trying to capture that space of a remodel or an expansion that doesn't start with a sewer disconnection.
It depends upon the words, essentially a change in size of connection. Does it?
Mr. Bowman, you can leave if you want.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Oh yeah, we've moved on. Sorry. I just want to get rid of the word previously in the fourth line that's in blue, and I think that allows a building or property that is connected and is intensifying the use to be charged a new connection fee if the intensification of that use results in the potential for more water use based on the size of their domestic water service. Yeah.
I see two blue previouslys. You're talking about the one on the fourth line, not the third line.
Well, I don't think it belongs in either place. Let me read the third line.
Craig, if what you're trying to do is capture, among other things, the intensification of use, would it or would it not be clearer just to make the state, instead of instead of the term intensification of use, would it not be, how about if you use something along the lines of upgraded domestic water supply?
That probably is more consistent language with how we're creating the connection fees. It's a good idea. If what we mean is you have the ability to use more water because you've increased the size of your domestic water service, then just say that, you know, or
Because that is how we're billing
Yeah,
the connection fee.
yeah, and she did add that language to bail me out in like line 9 or 10 down there, where she says, well, she's talking about the inverse, does not involve an intensification of use due to additional dwelling units or increased domestic water service size. But yeah, it seems like that could be, well, we do, which shall result. So we actually say it in the middle of the paragraph here, or proposing, let's see, reconnecting, or proposing an intensification of use for which a zoning or building permit is required, and which shall result in additional dwelling units or an increase in domestic water service size. So,
all right.
Yeah, she's got the language in there. Or I got the language in there.
Required, and still end up with the same size service, even though you might use more water.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
Sure, and then we get a higher user fees.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
so
but the idea is, again, there's two different things to think about. There's the base cost of the benefit of the ability to use water, and then there is your user fees, and they're two different things. And user fees are user fees, and it's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the base, like I'm hooking up, right? And if we're now going to charge a building that never ever existed, that's now going to exist and now is going to connect, and they've got a 2-inch domestic water service tap, and we're going to charge them $20,000 to connect. Well, it seems to me it is only fair that we charge someone that's going from a 1-inch domestic water service to a 2-inch domestic water service, you know, that pro rata difference.
Right. I mean, I'm a little bewildered by the entire first sentence and what's the purpose of it. But that's me.
Hey, Greg, is there, were they, I guess you're looking at that word previously, and I've read it now a couple of times, but could that easily be replaced with currently connected to the sanitary sewer?
Yeah, I mean, it could be gone, or you could say currently. Yeah, I mean, so we want to capture anyone connecting for the first time.
Yep.
Or anyone that has disconnected and reconnected.
Mm-hmm.
Or anyone that stays connected but increases their use by way of adding dwellings or increasing their domestic water service size. Those are the 3 people we're trying to catch, or have this regulation apply to.
I mean, let me ask this question. Where you say in that first sentence, where it starts to blue, the use of a building or property previously connected to the sanitary sewer, and then in there it should be maybe that requires a change in connection size.
Well, again, it's a different connection. It's the water connection. Not that we don't care about the sewer connection size. We actually care about the water connection size. So we have to be specific about that.
All right. Well, I mean, we could put that in, but to sanit or to identify you connected to the sanitary sewer, if there is a change in water connection size.
Yeah, I think it's, again, I think it's just these 2 previously. It is the 3rd and 4th previously, because the first sentence starts with a connection fee shall be due and payable upon 1, actual connection, 2, or reconnection to the sewer line, or 3, if we get rid of the word previously, or prior to the receipt of a certificate of occupancy for an intensification of use at a building or property connected to the sanitary sewer. that would be the three. And it's really just the word previously that prevents it from being those three. And then we say by any person or entity seeking to connect or reconnect to the sanitary sewer or to intensify the use of a building or property currently, or whatever, currently, change previously or currently. I mean, maybe she is saying the same thing where she means it's still connected, you know, it was previously connected and it is still connected, but it sounds a little bit like reconnected to me when I'm reading it. So it's just, I think if we change those two words from previously to currently, I think it reads the way I want it to look. It captures all three scenarios. And then to Bob's comment and a little bit to Pete's comment, I think the next sentence gets there because she clarifies what intensification of use means, or we clarify. Entities connecting or reconnecting to sanitary proposing an intensification of use, which shall result in additional dwelling units or an increase in domestic water service side. That pretty much clearly says what we mean by intensification of use. So I think that's in there.
I agree. I didn't see the further on, and I got tunnel vision to the part you were speaking to, and I agree with.
It is like
I agree with.
I'm struggling with it too, but
No, but I can understand what she was trying to say with it previously, but I think that could be misconstrued, and I think the currently cannot be cannot be read a different way.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
Why isn't it the building department's job to set those prices for the water coming in?
Well, it's not their job. It's a instigating action, right? Like, how would we know when someone does this, right? They would need, when they're proposing some big work like this, they're going to need a zoning permit or a building permit or both. And so it was just to create an instigating action to identify that you got to take a look.
The action informs us that the sewer usage is going up.
Or could, or you got to look at it.
Right?
Yeah. Do you agree with that, Darren or Ed? Way that's written in terms of being a.
I'm fine with the way you wanted to change it right now.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't feel like. I mean, you guys have hit this a lot, and our lawyer changed a couple of things that weren't clear to her, and she felt like she wordsmithed it, so she knows what you guys want to say, and if it wasn't clear to her, it wouldn't be clear to other people. So she.
No, I think it's super helpful to, you know, continue to beat this up, because, you know, the first thing that happens is there's an edge case we didn't consider, and you two guys are sitting over the counter with someone trying to pull a sewer permit, not knowing what to do, you know?
Yes.
So the more we beat it up and make it clear, the better, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
So I guess I would propose that we modify the use of the word previously in the third and fourth line to currently. And after that, I don't think I have any further modifications.
Want me to run it by town council again?
I don't think we need to. I really don't.
Okay. She asked me to tell her how it all
If we
turned
change
out on
it, yeah.
Wednesday.
Okay.
I will tell her.
You can go ahead. Yeah, fine. And look, and if she's concerned, she should speak up. I mean, absolutely. I just didn't want to make it a requirement to moving forward.
Okay.
Got
it. Thank you.
With that, do we think we're ready to proceed to a public hearing on this? And if we are, when would you want to do it?
We talked a lot about coinciding with August, the user fees, when Ed would present to you a proposed user fee. September. And then there was also discussion about, no, we could keep them separate. It's nothing wrong with holding 2 public hearings. I don't know how important that is to you guys.
Not important to me. I'd rather dispense of it. If we're going to do it, let's just do it.
My only question, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we referenced July 1st, 2021 in this. So should we wait until August? Or should we do it at July, the July meeting?
The hope of that date was that it was at some point forward from when we made this decision. We might choose to actually, I mean, it's basically an effective date. We might choose to push that out farther, but we selected July 1 because we thought it might be after we made the decision, and it coincided with kind of our first day of the new sewer user fee year.
So
we should do it now.
So if we did it for the June meeting, then we could just leave it as is?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, you have to publish it, wait a couple weeks, but yeah, that's good.
So I mean, I think the July 1st makes sense because of the fiscal year. So I would make the motion that we bring it up for public hearing in the June meeting.
Okay, we got one motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, any
Can you hear
further
me?
discussion? Yeah, I got you. So is Susan seconds, and the motion on the floor is to schedule a public hearing to take public comment on the potential adoption of regulation changes to establish sewer connection fees. And June, when was it, 1st?
8th. June 8th.
June 8th. Not the first Wednesday or Tuesday?
That's a Tuesday.
It is a Tuesday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's June 1st.
The 1st.
The 1st.
Excuse me.
June 1st.
The 1st.
June 1st.
How could it be the 8th?
How could it be the 8th? It could never be
It's
the 8th.
bigger than 7.
If Memorial Day was on June 1st, it could be the 8th.
Mhm.
All right. We have a second. All those in favor, Bob,
Aye, yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Greg is a yes. We're having a public hearing on June 1st. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Next up on the agenda, the superintendent's report, which looks very long.
Good stuff this week.
I like it.
5:05 p.m.
We have the I&I study update. We are out there now doing manhole inspections. We're into our 3rd week. I believe we have a couple more weeks left. They've been working steadily even through some of the inclement weather. They kind of pushed through. We did start our camera CCTV and cleaning this week. Started it yesterday. So we're 2 days into it. We're working our way from the Brookside area, Point Oak Woods Road area, and down towards the Post Road right now. That's just getting going too. As regards to our pump station inspections, I'm still waiting for the draft report from our consultant. I did get a peek at it at our last Teams meeting that we had virtually with them. It's quite a good document for us to build off of. I'm just excited to get my hands on it. So maybe we can start doing some of the things in the pump station to get them up to a more productive and more efficient system for those units. Darren's going to talk to you about Brookside right now.
Short story, $1,100 to pin the 4 corners. We finally got our surveyor to respond, the cheapest guy that we've been using for a while.
Do you want us to bless that, or are you just going to go ahead?
Yeah, well, I mean, Ed has to find the money, even if you say yes. So, but it would be nice. This was something that the commission took a big interest in. So we bring it back to you, give you a shot at it. It's not something that, I mean, everything has a chance to have a consequence, right? You put a pin in somebody's front yard that they thought was theirs. So
Care and maintenance of the sewer infrastructure on our property. I just proceed. I don't think you need a vote.
I just want to
Yep.
make you guys aware of it. That's why it's under
Okay.
superintendent's report.
I appreciate
No
it.
motion required. If Ed has the money and you guys give us a nod and a wink, we can go forward.
Craig, I visited the site. Can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah.
I visited the site and I think the fence is, the chain link fence is fine, but the
Mhm.
screening fence, especially on the back, needs to be replaced. Or just some of the slats replaced. There was not a lot of dumping. There was a little dumping, but not a lot. I was pleased. There's a lot of poison ivy.
I don't, I'm sure Ed can speak for himself, but he also visited the site and he agrees. Am I correct, Ed?
Yep, like I concur with Susan.
So the fence is in
And
bad shape,
We'll-
but
Yeah.
we'll pin the corners. And for right now, we're not going to put a fence all around the whole property. Let's start with the pinning of the
if
corners.
I had seen some more dumping or something that was the use of our property instead of them staying on theirs, I would have probably pushed a little harder, but let's be the good neighbor. We'll clean up our fence. We'll make it presentable. We'll definitely let them know where our property is. But from that point, we'll take a step back and see how it goes from there.
Sounds
If
good.
that's okay with you folks.
That sounds good.
That sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Darren, you have that statute that you want to talk about?
It's actually in the package.
Yep.
There's yet another bill that affects sewers. And this one is about the right to know. And the big change here seems to be that it will require us or the sewer department to notify the public in new ways.
Electronic filing.
We already do electronic reporting. That's a requirement. And anytime there's a bypass, we have a certain amount of time, but I believe now they're trying to make us post things and communicate directly with the public, if I'm not mistaken. Which
So
is,
instead of just sending it to the DEP and having it in their log, we have to somehow post it somewhere else. Do you know where?
no,
Seeing that.
I haven't really wrapped my arms around it yet.
Yeah.
I know that they want us to somehow get directly to the public, that's what it seems. So, let's see.
It says
As soon as-
social media, right? Social media.
Yeah, yeah, it could, I don't know if it could be on our website or it has to be a blast, a tweet. As soon as practicable, but not later than 2 hours after receipt of any such notice pursuant to this subdivision, each such chief elected official in conjunction with the local public health official shall inform the public of any sewage spill or permitted sewage bypass that has the potential to impact public health, safety, or the environment. Any such information provided to the public may be provided through the use of social media and shall be provided in each predominant language spoken by the residents of such municipality. So how do you, I don't know what that means. I don't do Facebook. I don't even know if the town has a Facebook page. It seems to involve the chief elected official and the health department. I think those are new things, or at least it's something that we don't do now. If we have a bypass, just to remind the commission how we do things, we immediately notify the DEP within 2 hours. There's a 2-hour notification and a 5-day close down the report. You have 5 days to close it. But right away, we notify Stanford. We have a reciprocal arrangement with them. We let them know that we had a bypass. They let us know if they had a bypass as a courtesy. We also notified Parks and Rec, the Darien Health Department. If it's south of I-95, we are required to notify the Bureau of Aquaculture, and we pretty much notify them on every bypass that we have, just to give them a heads up, so we don't have to think about how significant it was, whether it was north or south of 95. Just include them. They're good folks. They appreciate it. But I'm not aware of
Yeah,
our
but
chief
I'm
elected
I'm
official.
also thinking of the nature of the spills we've had, in the past. And sometimes, it's a few hundred gallons going into the shoulder of a road. And does that have the potential to negatively impact public health or the environment, And
Yeah.
okay. So it's 0, it's 1 gallon has the potential. So you would write your report, you would send it to the health official, and now I guess Jamie Stevenson, and then the health official and Jamie would have to issue a statement within 2 hours saying, 1 gallon of sewage was spilled on Main Street.
As ludicrous as it sounds, yes, that's your state government.
Okay.
Because theoretically, with the SSO reporting, the sanitary sewer overflow, it's a gray area whether or not if the town was made aware of a sewage spill inside someone's house, whether or not they're supposed to report it. That's how extreme this thing can be taken.
That is correct.
I'll call you the next time, Bob. I have a problem.
Thanks.
No.
Next time
I'll give you a number you could call.
Is there
It's not mine.
is there any lower limit where you don't have to report, like a teaspoon?
Well, they make it a gray judgment, right? The gray judgment is potential. So if I'm a public official or a person in this role, I'm not going to make a judgment. I want to come back to me that I made a judgment, it was or wasn't in the interest of public health, so I'm just going to report it.
Well, that's exactly
which is what we do now, by the way, in accordance with the regulation.
But that's exactly what the state did here. The state also covered themselves by not putting a lower limit.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is pending.
No.
Yeah, and if you go to the page 15 of 22, 16 of 22, you start talking about a subscriber agreement, which seems to, I'm not really sure, but it seems that they're looking for someone to be able to sign the form or be authorized to sign the form, which we already are. We do a bypass. We've already gone through this. The commission has already given staff permission to do the reporting on their behalf. So I don't know what's different about this, but it's curious to me that they threw something in here.
I think it's just the e-signature process, which is probably new, so they can validate that the person that is submitting it is in fact the authorized signatory.
Probably. And if you go to 21 of 22, also there's signatory authority's name, phone number, email, Secretary of State business ID, etc. So
that way
they
they know that people inputting into the system are valid people, which is good.
Okay. We have a password to get on already, and the commission has already authorized us to be the signatory. So I'm not sure what's different about this and why there's stuff in there. Maybe because they're saying chief elected official, now we need the chief elected official to, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's a bill, it affects sewage. It's pending, we bring it to you, keep you informed. And we sure hope that, for 2 months in a row, we've done this. Maybe in June, there won't be another bill that affects sewage.
All right, next.
Okay. We included in our superintendent's report today the Ox Ridge Elementary School generator. We do have we did meet up there. We had somebody look at it. It appears that it's not in any of the contract bid items to be taken away or handled. So there's a really good chance that we're going to end up with this generator right now. And from what our mechanic has said, it looks relatively new. So though it won't be able to run our 2 larger stations, it does appear that it'll be able to handle the other 12. So if something happens like the last storm where we were down we're down a generator at one location, we won't have to rent one. We'll have a spare that we could use. We're going to try to put it on a trailer so that we can move it from station to station.
Cool.
Which would be great.
Yeah, one more set of suspenders. It's good.
Good to hear it.
I'm sorry, Craig, I didn't hear that.
That's good. Another set of suspenders.
Thank you.
No, thank you, Bob, for reminding me. I appreciate that. That chance to revive that whole thing, that whole look at the generator thing. It's going to turn out well, I hope. You say the sound deadlines. The next one up is June 28th. I did review our work with our consultant. We're ready for that one currently. We did it quite a few months ago. So it's just a matter of sending Save the Sound folks an email with the work that we had submitted and completed and sent to the DEEP. So I already have it on my calendar for the end of May to get together with the consultant, draft an email, possibly June 1st, review that with you folks before it goes anywhere, and then send that up as our first step in the process.
Sounds good. Ahead of schedule. Let's keep it that way.
And finally, our review of our invoices from the Stanford WPCA, that is ongoing. I had a chance to respond to some questions that were submitted as part of the review, and appears that he's getting into some of the good numbers right now. Don't know what he's going to find, but we're trying to set up a conference call for next Tuesday to review what he's done so far, and probably have to put together some type of formal letter to the Stanford WPCA to ask for some information to supplement what we have originally, and answer some questions that our consultant has. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
5:20 p.m.
Is that it
What's
for the
that?
superintendent's report?
That's it. I don't have it listed, so I'd ask if you entertain maybe just one item for new business, only because I forgot to put it on the agenda.
I make a motion to go into new business.
5:21 p.m.
I'll make a motion to go on new business.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're in new business.
Okay, we did get an email from Stanford regarding the nitrogen credits for this year, and unfortunately they are down. Last year, as a good example, there was $2.5 million worth of credits that were attributed to Stanford. This year, it's only 320,000.
Wow, that's like zero.
Significantly.
Yeah.
They do blame some of the other facilities that have done better at their nitrogen work.
Overall, it's a good thing for Long Island Sound. We'll say that it's better than net zero. It's actually an improvement, so that's good.
And they, along with the rain, I guess, has caused some of the reduction in our ability to sell.
Like a $400,000 benefit to us last year, and it's going to be like a $40,000 benefit to us this year. It's a big difference.
If I remember correctly, they were doing some construction over there, and construction usually disturbs the quote unquote process. And if the process isn't right, your nitrogen numbers aren't right.
So we had less to sell, you think?
That would be my thought. I mean, even if the price was lower per unit, I don't believe it would, knock it down sevenfold. I think it's more that the process skewed the nitrogen numbers.
Interesting. Well, that's impactful. That is very impactful. That's a big number.
Yeah.
That's like 10%, more than 10% of our budget.
Well, it also affects us because the Stamper plant doesn't get as much of a reimbursement, which
Well, yeah, no, I
also
did the
helps
kind of
us out.
calculation based on our, whatever it is, 12, 13, 14% of that number we enjoy, right? And 13% of 2.7 million is a lot different than 13% of 300 and something thousand.
Yep.
It's a big number.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, yeah. Next, well, I'll know in a couple of months the impact as we go into of course, the great comparison season.
Yeah, well, boy, that, I'm always hoping for a zero increase, but that might have just popped my balloon.
Well, we're getting closer, Greg. I think eventually what you're going to see especially with the improvements that are going to be proposed on some of these sewer legs, I'm hoping that we start seeing a reduction in our I&I. And once I start seeing a reduction in that percentage, that's when I'm going to be happy the way we're spending the money, and we won't be so dependent on an impact like this to nitrogen credits.
Yep.
Okay, that's
other
it
new
for
business?
me as far as new business goes.
All right, any other new business?
Not me.
524.
Thank you, Bob.
I think Pete's up.
Pete's up, item number 7.
Oh, well, I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. You can stop
5:24
recording.
p.m.
You can stop recording now, Darren.
5:24 p.m. I'm going to stop recording.